So Endgame has been one of those sensitive topics in the Azure Lane community. Some people do it, some people don't care about it, some people want more of it. As of right now, I used to be one of those guys that cares about Endgame content, and as of right now, I still kind of do to an extent. But as the years progress, I've gotten lazier. Maybe it's because I got more stuff going on in my life, or like I have other games I want to play to the point where I don't really want to like put that much attention and end game focus for a game that I've been playing for so many years now. But I still kind of want to like have some kind of like new stuff to do in the game, mainly because it gives me like a goal to work towards. At least for me personally, like end game content gives me a goal to work for like my characters, my gear and stuff like that. So having more of those is pretty much good for me because it gives me something to do. Now, I know why some people won't like it because they don't do it, whatever, but that small handful of community people, I'm pretty sure they still want that kind of stuff, mainly because it gives them motivation to pursue this game much longer, long terms, right? So that's how I see it. As of right now, the biggest three endgame content I can think of are Meta 15s, Operation Siren, and Chapter 15 campaign. These are what I consider like the big three when it comes to endgame content. So Chapter 15 has been out for 2 years now. It's pretty much has been power creeped, I say. They added many anti-air ships over the years, healers as well too. Basically, I guess the developers looked at what characters people use the most around these chapters or whatever, and they started making more of those ships that makes it much easier to do these kind of content. I say this like Scylla was good, Shimanto, Guam. I think they added more variants of these kind of ships in the game as well too, just to make Chapter 15 much easier. This has been power creeped. I know people still struggle with this, but this has been power creeped. Same as Chapter 14, where they added like numerous combat destroyers or whatever. Like this has been power creep long time ago. Chapter 15's been out for about 2 years now. This has also been power creep very long time ago. So you run healers, vanguards, all that stuff. At this point, if you guys are struggling, it's because you guys aren't doing manual clears for the harder maps, such as 15.4 and 15.3, or you guys are just like autoing and just don't really care too much about team composition, or like you guys don't know how team composition build. That's fine as well too. So, like this game doesn't really teach you how to build fleets properly, so I can't really blame you guys for having that problem. But these are probably like the big issues of why you guys can't clear Chapter 15 if you guys are struggling with them. So again, they released mini ships over the years that helps alleviate the problem. The good news is it makes the end game content much easier. The bad news is it makes power creep more prevalent when it comes to just the game itself. Like if we compare one of the earliest battleships, say like New Jersey, I used her like the benchmark these days for just like power creep scaling, versus like Lion. Like it's not even close. It's like Lion puts out like way more damage compared to New Jersey. So yeah, like it's a good thing, it's a bad thing, but that's just the life of gacha games for you in a nutshell. Meta 15 is also another one. Now Meta 15 is a odd kind of end game content. I say this because it always changes, like time after time, damage reductions, all that stuff. It feels decently balanced towards like the end game of like what's best in slot. The bad news is I say this is very prevalent for seeing power creep, because usually there's like 2 or 3 fleets that can do these kind of content on auto combat, whereas if you guys have realized, we've been one tapping Meta 15 fights for like, I don't know, 3-4 years now. The teams back then that did that specific armor typing cannot do the same content today. Like back then, light armor stuff would be like New Jersey, Ulrich von Hutten, and like Duke of York or Vanguard or something, right? And then you'll run like whatever was before Plymouth, Helena, Aurora, stuff like that. And that would get you close, if not clear, the content with heavy RNG. That team now probably does like 1.2 mil, 1.3 mil damage. It won't even come close to clearing the meta fights we have these days. Mainly because of damage reduction, how their gimmicks work, all this stuff. It is much more difficult compared to back then. So I say it's good. I say Meta 15 is good balance for the current stage of the game. as of like that specific year, but it's not good as like a whole end game content like experience, because the stuff back then will get trashed when it comes to damage output nowadays from meta 15. So it's good if you're an active player. It's bad if you're like someone who just AFKs a lot, takes time off, stuff like that. Is not really good for that aspect. Now, the last one is going to be Arbiters, hard Arbiters, specifically level 130 content. I say this is heavily power creep. Now, we got to the point in the game where like this has been out for like 3-4 years now, and people can successfully clear the hard mode version of Arbiters if you have just 120 or 125 ships right here. It is very easy doing this content now. They haven't updated, nothing has changed. You can just go back, you just go here and experiment with whatever ships you want to do, and that's very good. It's good for people that want to try variations of fleets and like just sample out how they're going to perform in like actual combat, which is very good. It's bad because they're not improving on this, therefore like you're gonna see the same fight, temperance, arbiter, or hermit, strength over and over again. So if they could add like new arbiters here, that doesn't necessarily make it so it's harder end game content. It just brings more variety to the table for what kind of fights you can pursue in these kind of arbiter fights in general. So I say it's not bad, but just add more variety to it. I think it does need some kind of update to it. I think the developers just are too scared to add more stuff to OS these days because they find it as like a chore. It is a chore, by the way, but just adding new arbiters, I don't feel like is a chore. It's the same thing. You're giving people a little bit of a taste of like just end game differences, so I don't think it's that big of a deal, at least not to me. So that's what I have to say for the end game contents of the game. Ship wise though, we have seen significant changes of ships over the years. Back in the day, heavy armor was like Shinano, Ark Royal, and like I don't know who the other ship was. It was like maybe Shokaku, Ark Royal, and Shinano, was it right, or something like that. People ran for so long. Now it's like Hakugo, Shinano, Amagi CV, stuff like that. So it has changed over the years. It has changed. I was expecting them to release chapter 16 this year because it's been 2 years now. Usually that following the same pattern. They do a new chapter every 2 years or whatever. So maybe it could still happen. I'm not exactly sure, but that may or may not change. I'm not exactly positive about that. Meta 15 obviously has changed though, so developers are continuing working on that, which is good or bad, depends on what kind of player you are, because you will fall behind when it comes to auto clears if you guys just don't use them current meta ships. But again, it's not that big of a deal because you get no merits when tapping auto fights on meta. There's no like award for that. It's just a self pat on the back. And then Arbiter, hard fights, and normal fights, nothing has changed about this. I want them to update something about this, please, for the love of God. It gives something to do. I don't know if they're gonna do it though, but it just gives me something to do here long term, because OS sucks. No one likes OS. Alright, so that's all I gotta say about endgame content. I know some of my viewers don't do endgame content, which is perfectly fine, but for the 10 people that actually does endgame content, let me know how you guys feel about the current stage of the game as of right now for endgame content. Share your thoughts, and I'll see you guys next video. Thank you guys for watching as always. Peace out.